We do be back with more. Please be happy. In the last one, we started Juliet's route, and now we're starting this one. I mean, wait, what? What did I just say? I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna get into it. The morning comes all too soon. Groggily opening my eyes, I check the time and see that I've slept in about as late as I can. I spend a while trying to fall back asleep, but fail and eventually get up. There are only a couple hours until Aspen will be back, and I'm sure she'll go back to her apartment first after she arrives. But she'll have to come to the library not long after that so we can see each other before the days pass. Oh, and that makes it super awkward too. Like, hang on. As, someone who's been on both ends of this thing that she has to do, it's going to be so awkward because, like, sometimes, most of the time, you're like, yeah, you just said no to me. I kind of don't want it. Like, we're fine. I just can't see you for like a few days to a week or to a few weeks for some people. So it's like to have to see that person every single day after that point. That's rough, bud. Once she's here, I don't see a way to put off talking about that. It'll be better for both of us to just get it over with, I'm
All
sure.
right, Mio. You can do this.
Oh, she so doesn't want to, and that's understandable. Staring into the bathroom mirror, I try to believe myself. I know what Juliet said is all true about her friendship not having to change or there being any bad feelings. I'm just not looking forward to telling Aspen in the first place. It won't be the first time that I've hurt Aspen somehow. But no, what? I did think I clicked it. It won't be the first time that I've hurt Aspen somehow, but it's the first time where I've planned it out in advance and know it's going to happen. I still, I know that fixating on it and dreading it will make me feel worse. After moping around for a bit longer, I head down to the
Good morning,
kitchen.
Miho.
Morning.
At least Juliet seems to be in a good mood. I try to make myself sound chipper too. Even though it's just the two of us today, Juliet worked as hard as always on breakfast. There's the usual assortment of fruit, eggs, and toast all laid out on the
Thanks for the
table.
food.
Of course. Do dig in.
Don't mind if I do.
I eat my meal with as much I eat my meal with as much gusto as I can, although I'm much slower than usual. Juliet went through all the effort to prepare everything, so I don't want to let it go to waste. Eventually, I have to admit defeat and set down my fork with a lot of food
Everything
unfinished.
okay?
Yeah, it's all great. I'm just not super hungry right now.
Oh, yes. Understandable. I'm sorry. I should have asked before preparing so much.
Nah, it's fine. Thanks for cooking. I'm sorry I can't eat more of it.
Hey man, just put it in the fridge. That's what leftovers are
Don't
for.
worry. As long as you enjoyed it, I certainly can't complain.
I sure did. It doesn't look like you're all that hungry either, though.
Me? What makes you say that?
I point at the half-eaten bread on her
You had
plate.
even less than I did.
Juliet looks down as if surprised to see what's
Well,
there.
I suppose you're right. To tell you the truth, most food tastes the same to me, essentially flavorless. I enjoy the ceremony of sharing a meal with friends much more than the meal itself.
You can't taste anything? Why not?
Because I'm a
It's
vampire.
another one of the downsides of vampirism. I can still eat and drink if I want to, but I don't need to.
Even tea?
Even tea, to an extent. Although I can't enjoy the flavor, I do still enjoy its aroma. And that was one of my favorite parts about tea, even as a human.
Whoa. You're really good at cooking for not being able to try it.
That is actually super impressive. I never even thought about that. What the
Thank
freak?
you. I'm glad you like it. Cosette was often my taste tester. Once I found a way of preparing something she enjoyed, it was simply a matter of committing the recipe to memory.
She definitely had good taste then. I can't imagine not being able to enjoy food. It used to be one of the only things I enjoyed.
It
Same.
is quite unfortunate. Had I known what it would be like before I turned, I would have made more of an effort to sample cuisine from around the world while I could.
Are we gonna get the story of how she turned? Is that what this is about
Were
to be?
there other things that were different for you then?
Oh, yes. Almost everything. Those faculties that I do retain, such as my eyesight and hearing, are far keener than they were as a human. To say nothing of the ability to transform. I suppose it must be like that for you as well, compared to your days as a fox.
Yeah, that's true. But I can always turn back into a fox when I want to.
You are quite fortunate in that regard. Taking wing as a bat can be exhilarating, but it's not... familiar.
Do you like being a vampire? Would you go back to being a human if you could?
That's a fair question. It doesn't sound like she likes it all that much.
That's a difficult question to answer. Even if I were to somehow revert to normal humanity right now, I wouldn't be the same person I was before I became a vampire. That was a lifetime ago. Several, in fact. Who I am now isn't even who I was when I first changed. I appreciate the many chances that I've had to learn and grow. Without the gift of immortality, that wouldn't have happened. Nor would I have met any of the people whom I care about most. You, Cosette, Aspen. I'd have died centuries too early for our paths to ever cross. Naturally, I wouldn't trade that for the world, for anything. But I confess that I do miss the simplicity of human life. The very things that Aspen fears most are some of what I most regret leaving behind. A temporary
Like what?
existence
What?
pushes you to
Oh.
achieve all that you can within the time given to you. Your triumphs and victories are sweeter. Justice tragedy may be deeper, with their impermanent finality. I suppose I would have to say that it's equal parts blessing and curse. Presented with a choice to somehow go back and stop myself from being turned, I would decline. There are truths that can only be learned with experience and age. So, in that sense, perhaps it would be futile, even if it were possible.
With a sigh, she gives me a sheepish smile.
That was rather long-winded of me, wasn't it? To answer your question more directly, I wouldn't go back. There's a part of me that will always want to, though.
I was actually thinking, like, from my perspective, I'm like, yeah, I like digging this. She's, like, just going on, like, a monologue right now. And then I was, like, thinking, like, from Mio's perspective, she's just like, dude, I just asked you a yes or no question. Will you just answer, please?
I get it. Sounds like there are even more differences between Fable like us and humans than I thought.
In some ways, yes.
Nodding, I idly pushed around some of the leftover food on my plate with a fork. It went cold a long time ago.
Thanks for saying all that. It makes me feel better about... you know... like I'm making the right decision.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad that I could be of some help.
I wish I could delay having the conversation with Aspen, but there's only a couple more hours until I would have to see her anyway, at least long enough for her to not forget me. She took a late bus there and an early bus back just for that, meaning her visit with her family hardly lasted any time at all. I feel a twinge of guilt because Aspen basically has to plan her life around seeing me, even though there's nothing I can do about that. Rising to my feet, I gather up both my dishes and Juliet's and take them to the sink, dumping the leftovers in the trash on my way.
Thank you, Miho.
No problem. Are you going to bed?
Indeed. Unless you'd prefer for me to wait with you.
I wouldn't mind, but it's okay. You don't have to stay up for my sake. I'm probably just going to watch TV or something until she gets here.
All right. If you're sure. As always, You're welcome to wake me should the need arise.
If you're actually asleep next time. You were already
Wait.
awake when I knocked yesterday.
Did it, like, skip one? Hang on. No, it didn't. Okay, it just felt like it did, and I don't know why it felt like it did.
True. Although that was something of an anomaly. Still, whether I'm awake or not, don't hesitate if you need anything.
Will do. Night!
Have a good day, Miho. I'll see you this evening.
I finish cleaning up as Juliet heads to her room. After wiping my hands dry, I flick off the lights and go to my own room. The TV crackles to life when I switch it on, and I take my usual spot on the floor with my back against the bed. Flipping from channel to channel, I look for a cartoon or something that I can watch without having to think too hard about it. Preferably something without a romantic subplot, as hard as that is to find. It's not that I mind those most of the time, but right now, I'm not in the mood. I end up settling for an animated movie about a girl who can turn into a seal and her brother's quest to rescue her. Okay, is that a reference to something, or they later was like, what's she gonna watch? What's she gonna watch? Seal show. Let's go with that one. As I'd hoped, watching shows does take my mind off things. It also makes time pass by way too fast. At some point when I check the clock, I see that it's almost time for Aspen's bus to arrive. The stomach cramping feeling of anxiety starts to kick in. I take some deep breaths and drink a glass of water to stifle it.
It's no big deal, you dummy. You're just making this worse for yourself. She'll be sad, but she'll get over it.
Around the time that the bus should be pulling into the station, I go downstairs to wait. My practice books for reading and writing are tucked away at the front desk, where I retrieve them and sit down. My eyes go over the same line a dozen times without really processing what I'm seeing. It's frustrating because it's not like my thoughts are occupied with something more important. Instead, it's like there's an alarm bell ringing in my head, an unhelpful reminder that I'm not looking forward to what's going to happen without contributing anything useful. That was a terrible reading. Instead, it's like there's an alarm bell ringing in my head, an unhelpful reminder that I'm not looking forward to what's going to happen without contributing anything useful. Hopefully that sounded a little bit better to you guys. I grit my teeth and try to power through it, forcing my hands and eyes to cooperate. I manage to slowly make my way through the worksheet in front of me, but not without glancing at the front door every couple minutes. When I finish, I'm not sure I actually got anything out of it. With every minute that ticks by, I get a little antsier. I wait, and wait, and wait. Oh my gosh, wait. So her bus still did get delayed, but they don't know about it. Oh my gosh, wait, is Aspen gonna forget? Please don't. I would actually cry. Just tears everywhere. I so don't want that. 45 minutes after her bus should have arrived, I get up and pour myself another glass of water just to do something.
She's taking her time.
I should probably be more patient. It's a long walk from her apartment to here, and she probably wanted to freshen up after the long ride. Sighing, I take my seat, spinning circles in the chair. A minute later, I stand up again and pace around, browsing the books on the library shelves as if I'm interested in them at all. Before I know it, an hour has passed since I came downstairs, since Aspen got back to Wellington. I head back to the desk and pull out another writing worksheet. With a couple weeks of practice behind me now, I can write almost all the letters from memory, just not very legibly. It takes all my concentration, but when I get to the end of this one, I'm pretty proud of the results. Somehow it took me almost 15 minutes to get through both sides. That explains why my hand is so sore. I need water. Hey God. Oh. Good water. But it doesn't explain why Aspen's still not here.
Maybe I should go find her.
She'll probably be following the same path we took to get to the station yesterday. It goes right by her home after all. It's early enough that if I hurry, I could get to the station and back with It's early enough that if I'm getting so scared actually. It's early enough that if I hurry, I could get to the station and back with time to spare in case she does take a different route and get to the library while I'm gone. Plus, I could write her a note. I grab one of the pads of sticky notes that Juliet keeps at the desk, gripping my pencil so tightly that it hurts. But I need to be as precise as I can, or else Aspen won't even be able to read it. Aspen went to station and your house. Took route you showed me. We'll come back here. Oh. Oh, she wrote that actually like how a kid would, trying to sound it out, and then it's wrong because English is stupid. It's not the best, but it should work. I wish I was calm enough to be proud. Instead, I just grab a piece of tape and stick the note to the front door as I hurry out. Moving at a brisk pace, I scan both sides of every street as I go, and check every window and open every door I can to make sure I don't miss her. I make it to Aspen's apartment and knock loudly, rocking on my heels while I wait. The door never opens. I try to peek in her window, but the blinds are shut and curtains are drawn. Still, it doesn't look like there are any lights on inside. My worry starts to morph into panic. It's possible she already came home, dropped off her bags, turned the lights back off, and left. But then, why didn't I pass her on the way? Just be sure I hurry the rest of the short trip to the station, but don't see any trace of Aspen. Flat out running instead of jogging, I rush back the way I came. But instead of staying on that one route, I also try side streets, weaving back and forth between the main path and the others. None of them have her, and I reach the library breathless and alone, my note still where I left it. I push the door open, hoping against hope that she's waiting for me inside. She isn't, but Juliet is there, standing behind the front desk.
Leo, I was wondering where you'd gone. I saw these sheets that you left out.
Aspen still isn't back yet!
I can't hold back from blurting out the bad news. There's no time to waste. Juliet's eyes instantly go wide with alarm, and her mouth drops open in shock for a brief second before she composes herself.
Wait here. I'll try to call her.
While she rushes off, I push the door back open and scan the horizon, looking for a glint of Aspen's glasses in the sun or her hat bouncing while she walks. Nothing. Juliet returns with the phone in her hands, where it looks weirdly out of place. She calls Aspen and then puts it on speaker, and we both wait with bated breath.
You've reached Aspen. If you're a publishing agent or editor, then please...
Juliet cuts off the voicemail message just like I cut it off a moment ago.
I didn't even hear it ring!
It didn't. That means that for whatever reason, she can't receive calls right now.
Whatever reason? Like what?
Most likely, her phone is dead. Or she's somewhere without reception.
I see Juliet's face fall as we both make the same connection.
Yesterday, before we left here.
Yes. She mentioned that she wouldn't have it for most of the journey. But she should have been back in Wellington a long time ago, correct?
Yeah.
I hate this. I hate this.
2 hours ago.
Because this would totally destroy me to not have her remember, but the game would also but that also kind of goes into I don't know. I feel like the game could try to make a point with all that and I don't know. I was just scared because I'm pretty sure that they'll actually do it, and that's what scares me.
How much longer do you have left?
About an hour.
My voice cracks as I say it.
Thunder.
My mouth is dry. I try to swallow the lump in my throat, but it won't go away. She even came home early to give us extra time. Time that was supposed to be just in case, not actually needed.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I was hoping you would know.
Me? I see. Let me think.
I could just wait here at the library, where she's bound to turn up eventually. I'm sure she's watching the clock as closely as I am, wherever she is. On the other hand, I could go out looking for her again. I can move faster than she can, and if she's running late, then the time saved by going to where she is could make all the difference.
Okay, here.
I look up at Juliet, hoping she has the
Take
solution.
my phone. Go try to find her. Make sure you can get back here in time. If she arrives before you find her, we'll call you.
Okay.
Juliet quickly shows me how to use the phone, and I pocket it, making sure that I won't fall out. Her plan just combined both of mine. It's a good compromise, but it still comes down to luck. I guess there's no way around that. Not every problem has a perfect solution. There's nothing else to say, and less time to say it, so I hurry back outside without another word. I barely gotten my breath back from running all the way to the library, but I forced myself to run again. I have to cover as much ground as possible, as fast as possible. I check the bell house, but she's not there. When I get to her apartment, it's just as I left it, same at the bus station. I turn around, about to start the trip back when I spot someone waving at me from nearby.
You okay? I saw you run
by here a while ago.
I'm looking for someone. A friend who should have been here by now.
On one of the buses? You sure they weren't on the one that broke down?
The what?
Yeah, heard some other folks who were here talking about it. Guess it broke down on the way back and the replacement's taking forever. They were getting pissed because it was going to make them late. Couldn't tell you which bus it was, but you could probably find out. Where were they coming from?
I don't know the name of the town. It's a few hours away.
Well, that doesn't exactly narrow it down, but it matches up, I think. The guys who are waiting were packed for a long trip, so it must be one of those distance lines.
Thanks.
I stumble as I turn back around, my legs shaking like jelly. There's no way it isn't Aspen's bus. All the details line up so perfectly and terribly. My only hope is to wait here at the station and hope that the replacement arrives in time. Mechanically, I dial Aspen's phone over and over, hanging up and redialing whenever her recorded voice starts to play. At some point, I stop trying. As the minutes tick down, I feel increasingly sick with the burning pressure of tears in my eyes. When I finally do hear the rumbling sound of an approaching vehicle, I can barely believe it. Lifting my face from my hands, I watch with my heart in my throat as the bus turns the corner and pulls into the station. And then Miho's gonna be like, Aspen! And then Aspen's gonna be like, who? This has to be her bus. It has to be. Unable to move, I just watch as the line of passengers slowly disembarks. My eyes stay glued to the door until the line finally stops. Then a line of waiting people, including the person who talked to me, begins to board. The bus takes off a minute later, without Aspen. I collapse back onto the bench, barely repressing a sob. Why? Why is this happening? For a few final minutes, I stare at the phone, open to Aspen's info, along with her phone number. There's a picture of her sitting at the kitchen table. It's a little out of focus, but she's smiling. I look at the picture rather than the time, as minutes become seconds and then seconds become nothing. A full 24 hours have passed, and Aspen never returned. Everything I was feeling melts into numbness. It seems like I should feel something, a chill or ache or some indication that it's over. I've been forgotten. Of course there isn't one. I've been forgotten a million times before, it just never mattered. Even now, it doesn't feel real. Just a few hours ago, I was worrying over Aspen for entirely different reasons. I rise and slowly return to the library. I don't run, I don't look in the windows, I don't try calling. My sticky note is still on the front door when I get back, and I tug it down, stuffing it in my pocket as I trudge inside. Juliet stands up from the desk as I walk in. Alone. I can see her face shift as she realizes the door slams shut behind me, no one else stepping in.
Miho. I'm so sorry.
Here's your phone. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
I set it down on the desk and then stand there, not sure what to do next.
Perhaps it's not exactly 24 hours. Perhaps there's some leeway and she'll still get here in time.
Yeah, maybe. There was a bus that broke down, I guess. It must be hers. Someone at the station told me.
No, don't stop. I hate this. For once, Juliet seems to be at a total loss for words. She just nods stiffly at my explanation. I sit down in one of the chairs near Juliet, staring at the floor. The alarm bell in my head is mercifully silent. Faintly, it occurs to me that this must be what they all call shock. Must be what they call shock. I don't know who they all are, but they call it shock. We sit there until there's a noise outside the door, catching both mine and Juliet's attention. Slowly, the library door opens and Aspen enters, looking worn. I'm so scared. Looking worn out. Her hair is frizzled and looks like she's been running, or crying, or both. She shuts the door gently behind her. Juliet and I both stand up from the desk at the same time.
You're back.
I can't bring myself to say anything, only to stand there and wait. As the feeling of dread and anticipation return, I realize that I've held on to some hope after all.
Yes, I'm back. God, I know I'm late. It was ridiculous. Our bus broke down and the replacement didn't arrive for hours. We weren't even that far from Welly when it happened. Simply unbelievable.
That's so crazy. Like, it sounds like she was trying to make it back with like running and crying the whole time, but then she forgot why she was doing any of that. I don't know. That's immediately what I thought when it says like she's like, it looked like she'd been crying and she was breathing hard from running, or it looked like she'd been running, or whatever it said specifically. I can't. Aspen reaches up to adjust her hat and glasses and holds up her phone with a
I saw all the
smile.
missed calls from you once I got back to the station, but it was so late, I thought it would just be easier to come straight here instead. So, sorry to keep you both waiting, Juliet.
Walking past Juliet, Aspen comes where I'm standing, her eyes glued to the floor. She stops in front of me and slowly looks up. She was definitely
And
crying.
You must be Miho.
Oh! Oh, stop! No. I don't know how to process that. She must have left some kind of like little note for herself, like, or something. What? That's the end? What? No! 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 Oh, because that's probably where I gotta end. I don't have too much longer to record anyway, so I won't be able to record for more than just like a few minutes. But it's like, that hurts. That hurts so much. Oh, and you must be Miho. Just stab me in the heart, why don't you? Just rip it out, why don't you? You jerks. That was so mean. If the chapter kept going for a few more minutes, I'd like let it happen, but it probably is gonna like go into like a bigger scene or something since it is the start of a new chapter. I'm like, I just don't have time to do that much right now, so we'll just have to start that in the next one. Ah. Okay, well, with all that being said, I'll see all you beautiful people in the next one. This is causing me like physical pain. I hate. I love Aspen so much, and to have her forget Miho is like killing me inside. I'll see all you beautiful people in the next one. Oh, this is such a lovely picture, and Aspen's. Bye bye.